Yo, 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 my friends, what's going on? This is Elvis Rico from Laughing with Cancer. A few things have changed a little bit. What do they say? The saying, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But basically, we're going to be starting a little Rituxan. I guess it's a mild chemo right now that they're going to start on. And I'm going to probably ask the nurse exactly what Rituxan is. What does it do? What's the purpose of starting Rituxan? What kind of side effects? And different things like that. Hold on. So, they did give me information about it, but I'm still kind of out of it a little bit with the medication they've been giving me. But I guess the doctor did come in this morning and said they want to send my pathology findings to get another opinion, and it would take a week. And so they're going to discharge me from the hospital, which is a good thing because it's been 2 weeks now. And but in the meantime, right now they're going to start me on the Rituxan, which I guess takes 5 to 6 hours to do. And Rituxan normally is like a treatment for certain types of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and for treatment for chronic lymphocytic leukemia, CLL, which is what I have. So they're going to do that, and then hopefully go home tomorrow, and in probably 5-6 days, Tuesday, I'm guessing, because it's Thursday now, so probably Tuesday they said I'd be going in and they would have more results and start the other chemo, but basically see if we're going to be still doing aggressive chemo or not so aggressive chemo. So I was basically asking, so does that mean maybe no chemo? He's like, oh, no, you're doing chemo. So they're going to find out whether or not it's going to be an aggressive chemo, which they were thinking they were going to have to do aggressive to begin with. So I guess that's a good thing. Hopefully it won't be as aggressive. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to talk to the nurse here in a little bit and see if we can get more info from her about what this whole Rituxan is all about. All right? So give me a minute and we'll get back with you in just a second. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Laughing with cancer. Let's live life, not just survive. Laughing with cancer. If you're not laughing, life will pass you by.
Okay, guys, I'm back. And like I said before, for legality reasons, I will not be talking about what hospital I'm at or doctors' names or nurses' names. So we're going to be talking with Nurse Knowledge, I like to say. So she's very wise. She doesn't think so, but I think she's very wise. So what we've done so far that they've got me started for the last couple of days is the prednisone and the allopurinol.
Allopurinol.
Okay, now what was the reason for these two to prepare for this?
The prednisone is just a steroid. Then
Okay.
you're going to be getting the Benadryl and the dexamethasone, which is also a steroid. So these two coincide with each other. This is just to get the body ready for the chemotherapy when I give you the medicine, because you can have the side effects from the Rituxan. The allopurinol is for the uric acid that can be caused from getting chemotherapy, and we're reducing that so we don't have to have that problem. Right. It doesn't develop. We're taking care of it before it develops.
Right, and that could also help with gout, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's usually really good.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and then after we get this all in, then we're going to wait. Did you say like
about a half hour, 40 minutes, yep. Okay. And then we will start the Rituxan.
The Rituxan.
And that's a whole process.
That's a whole to do. So once we start the Rituxan, then I'll maybe ask you different questions about the Rituxan and what to kind of expect and stuff like that, and just different things to be expecting at home as I'm doing this, because this is a chemotherapy.
It's a biotherapy is what they call it.
And because I am going to be doing more chemo, different kind, from what he said, but just
as outpatient.
Yeah, as outpatient. So we'll go ahead and do the pre stuff, and then I don't know if
mainly is the nausea.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, no, not nausea. The headache, cough, runny nose, throat irritation. These are less side effects. Let's see, more like flu-like symptoms. Okay. That's why the steroid, the prednisone, any kind of an antihistamine, anti-inflammatory. That's what we're trying to do, because the Rituxan will cause the flu-like symptoms.
Okay.
They're going to give you those inflammation symptoms.
Okay. Now, I know doing this, I've had people that have asked a lot of questions about chemotherapy, and a lot of the questions that people are kind of afraid to ask their doctors or anything, like when they're going through chemotherapy, can they have sex when they're feeling better or randy or whatever? What do they suggest? And people are kind of afraid to ask their doctor if they're able to do that. 2 days
later. So you don't want to have any kind of fluids from somebody who's getting chemo. Right. And it's usually a good rule of thumb is the 48 hours after. So just protect yourself and others from your fluids, your pee, your bodily fluids, spit, stuff like that, poop, pee, any of the bodily fluids. We want to cover toilet seats for 48 hours after getting chemotherapy.
Okay.
To protect others.
Okay, but I mean, after that,
you're fine.
As long as you're feeling up to it and you're okay, then it's not a problem or anything like that.
For most chemotherapy. But you always want to check.
Yeah. And this is, for right now, for this one, we're good. For as we go down the road, it might be something different.
Yep.
Okay. I know that's one of the things, so. Okay, well, let's get started with the pre-stuff, and I guess as long as that Benadryl doesn't make me too...
So Benadryl, the Benadryl and the dexamethasone. So the Benadryl, this might be something interesting. Benadryl, it's such a high dose. What it does is it will make your groin on fire almost. It'll feel very warm.
Like you gotta pee? Or...
Yes, so some men will pee themselves when I do the Benadryl.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so just to let you know.
I mean, like I said before on the podcast, is when they give me all the medication and stuff like that, it kind of made me constipated when I was throwing up and had the headache and everything. I was kind of glad because I probably would have shit myself.
So this one you might piss yourself. We'll be all right.
Okay, we'll be okay. All right. All right, guys, I will get back with you here in a minute once we get started. I'm going to go with the pre-meds and all this other good stuff. And hopefully I won't be too loopy and repeating myself once we get started. Or pee myself, for that sake. Okay, I'll talk to you guys in a few. Okay, so they've administered me all my pre-meds. And they're going to start the Rituxan here in just a little bit. So they gave me another steroid along with the prednisone and whatever the heck that stuff is. You guys heard what she said before like that. So, but you're going to have to forgive me if I start sounding a little loopy because like she said, they were giving me a high dose of Benadryl. And so I'm going to have to, once they start that Rituxan, I'll be here for about 5 to 6 hours, having the chemo drip in my port. So, and I'm not sure, did I say on my podcast last night about the port?
You mentioned it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I did mention the port. But man, that port hurts still. It's tight. But I guess when you're sticking a tube down your jugular vein, it's going to get a little tight. So, hopefully she'll start here the Rituxan, and we'll get going. So once again, if you guys have, while I'm doing these series of treatment, if you guys have any questions, excuse me, make sure you email me at laughingwithcancer@gmail.com or my Facebook, Laughing with Cancer. And if there's questions that you guys are wondering about that I could ask the nurse, then definitely let me know, and I will ask her and get back with you. So let's see if the nurse is going to be here in just a few. Okay, so Nurse Knowledge is back. She's hooking up the IVs and getting ready for all that. And I've gotten, like I said, I got all my meds and all my regular stuff, and I'm good to go. She was wondering if I was feeling loopy yet from all the stuff, and not really. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just one of those guys. I tolerate a lot. Except for when I'm sick. I'm a baby.
Right? We can say that again. I mean...
So, so why the Rituxan? Why, I mean...
Depending on what kind of cancer you have, depends on what kind of chemo treatment you receive.
Right.
So, when you get a diagnosis, I then look it up to what the doctor ordered.
Uh-huh.
So, for your for CLL, your leukemia, many times they give the Rituxan.
Okay.
And so that's why, and then you look in a book, there's this huge book, and it tells me Rituxan, and then it says, for CLL, you give Rituxan, Cytoxan, all the different kind of chemos that'll go with it.
Okay.
And then we go from there.
Yes. So, okay.
So if it doesn't match up in the book with what the doctor ordered, I then go, wait a minute, this is his cancer, why are you giving this drug? And then I can ask questions. Yep. And then I look at the dosages and how we're giving it, which comes on a form like so. This is my math homework for you. And I already went over it with another nurse, and she marked it.
Okay, cool.
But so, Rituxan, this is a form just for Rituxan, so it's already pre-done. See how they just have to mark it off?
Right.
Yeah. And then it says, first dose protocol. And then you're going to do, I'm going to give it, infuse it at 50 milligrams per hour. Which sounds easy, right? You think 50 milligrams per hour. No. Because the pharmacy doesn't run it that way. The pharmacy doesn't make it up so that I can run it at 50 milligrams per hour.
Okay.
I then have to do calculations of what the dose is to equal 50 milligrams per hour, so you're getting 825 milligrams and 500 milliliters. I had to figure it out to equal 50 milligrams per hour, which ends up being 30 milliliters an hour.
Alrighty.
Right.
Okay, then.
And that's the part that screws everybody up.
Well, that was just pretty much wah, 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 wah.
I know, right?
At least that you won't use algebra in your adult.
Exactly.
Right? They always say
Thank
that.
God, this is the only part of nursing I like. The only part of nursing I ever did good on was my fluid and electrolytes and my calculations.
And so I'll be doing this for 5 to 6 hours. Is that what we
Right.
calculate?
So right now there is 500 milliliters in here.
Uh-huh.
I'm starting off the first hour at 30 milliliters an hour.
Okay.
Then if you do okay and we don't have blood pressure problems or anything where I don't have to stop it, we will then go up, as our protocol states here. Obtain vital signs every 15 minutes for the first hour. Then I can bump it up.
Oh, okay.
50 milligrams, which that would be, we start at 30 milliliters, I'll bump it up to 60 milliliters.
Okay. Now, does this Rituxan, does it make you, like you said, the Benadryl and all that stuff, I should have been
This will be
loopy.
fine. The only
Does
thing
this
this
stuff-
can do is those flu-like symptoms.
Oh, yes, I might pee myself.
No, this,
Oh, that's
you were
the other one.
already
Okay.
supposed to pee yourself.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you're right. The other one. See, I'm already getting confused now.
Right? It's because all the Benadryl and dexamethasone I gave you.
Right? Along with the whatever I just took, my other pain meds and my...
Oh,
my-
good.
like-
You're all kinds
Note
of
all of
loops.
her garb.
Yes,
she
yes.
needs to wear.
She has to wear 2 sets of...
Two sets of the glove.
2 sets of the glove. A mask that has a plastic thing for...
The eyes.
The
so
eyes
you're
and stuff
protecting your
that's
eyes, you're
protecting-
protecting the mouth, you're protecting your skin. And then this is a chemotherapy. So it has special tips
Okay.
These don't come off. See how they're it's almost like they're soldered on.
Okay.
Because the pharmacist made it, and so he puts these special tips on that you can't just disconnect it and let it pour.
Oh, right. Well, they should just make like your outfits like black so that people come and say, I'm the ninja nurse. And
That doesn't look so good. That would look more like the Grim Reaper, maybe.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't work.
that probably would work. You're right. The Grim Reaper is here to
Hi, I'm Kim, the Grim Reaper.
We'll be playing your Slayer song to help you calm down called Angel of Death. Which
That's okay. Earlier I was singing Black and Black. You know. I had AC/DC going in my head.
There you go.
Oh, here.
There's karaoke to AC/DC.
You guys do?
Who does?
Oh, yeah.
I karaoke to Cher.
There you go.
Nice.
Yes, Cher is my girl, man.
When I did win that $100 in Pomfrey for the contest, it wasn't for an Elvis song. It was Jesse's girl. Rick Springfield. I wish I had Jesse's. Yeah.
And we always do Sweet Caroline.
Oh, yeah. That was one that I did, too. And
that's our other one.
Everybody has fun with that song.
Yes.
Well, oh, that's all right. I didn't have that on right now.
That's always a crowd pleaser, especially when you've got a really rambunctious crowd that wants to sing along.
And that's always been my thing, too, is when I did shows, if I didn't have very many people there, I was nervous. If I have tons of people there, I was like, yes, I'm excited. And it was like, that's kind of opposite, you know?
I'll have to show you the video of my 12-year-old on the cruise ship singing. And I showed a girl this morning, one of the aides that I've never seen before, but I showed one of the aides and she goes, holy cow, she can sing. I said, I know. Wasn't that shocking? I didn't know she could sing either. All right.
So, okay, let me ask you a quick question. So this, how long do they wait before they do the Rituxan again? Is it just going to depend on what we find out Tuesday, or?
Right. Usually, when I do like an R chop or whatever, it's once a month.
Okay. For how many months? Just depending on the severity of the...
Yeah. I have to look in the book, but since we don't have the definitive...
answer
pathology, I can't really tell you anything except for
why are they sending it to so many different people.
Right? Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Let me get Chair. I gotta get the other nurse.
Okay.
So that she can sign off on your chemo.
Okay.
Even though we know you very well, but we want to make sure.
Mask, whatever.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this off as soon as I start it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And if I think of more questions, I will definitely be asking.
Definitely.
All right, guys. That's where we're at right now. That's where we're going. Hopefully, if I'm not too loopy and I can think of questions, maybe Amanda can help me here in a little bit with some questions that we might want to ask as we're doing this, because I'll be hopefully not be wondering if the birds are flying in the spaceship in the pink sky. So hopefully we won't be at that point. Alrighty, guys, I will talk to you here again in a few. Okay, as we're taking a break right now, I'm going to just say a little something about what we already talked about as far as the port. Now, they put a port in your chest, and it goes under your skin, and it heals up. The stitches will heal up. And what they do is they send a tube up to your jugular that goes down through your jugular vein to your aorta and kind of hangs above your heart. And each time they go to do your chemo, they will just put it in the port there and shoot the stuff up there. So, just in case I didn't mention that, I'm just letting you know. Let's go on to the next part. All right, guys, I am back. I still have a couple more hours, I guess, of the chemo. But right now we have a young lady that we're going to call Miss Nurse Betty Boop. And she is a traveling nurse. She's not necessarily an oncology nurse, but she is one of the awesome nurses up here helping with everybody. And she's a traveling nurse. So you know what, guys? When somebody says they're a traveling nurse, just know nurses make cash, but a traveling nurse makes more cash. You know what I'm saying?
I can't lie, that's true.
Right. So basically, when you travel and you go to different places, does it depend? I don't want to say you're a normal nurse. I don't, because that kind of like, nurses aren't normal. That's for sure. Nurses do true. So much stuff. Doctors say, we want this, a catheter, and whatever else. Make it happen. And so the nurses have to all do that. And so a lot of times people don't give nurses, I think, the props that they should, because you guys do so much as far as all that stuff.
I thought you were saying normal nurse because we're all a little wacky.
No.
And that's kind of true, too.
No. I don't want it, because normal nurse, people are like, it's just a normal nurse. But you nurses, none of you guys are normal as far as how you treat your patients, how you deal with all this stuff, and different things like that. So how long have you been a traveling nurse?
I've been a traveling nurse about 2.5 years. So I worked, I've been a nurse for about 4 years, and I worked for 2 years back home out of school.
Where's home?
Home is in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
The best city in the country.
Right.
So I was there for about 2 years, and then I decided I wanted to travel, so.
And has that been fairly, well, I know you said you had some crazy stories about some of the places you've been. What would be the best place that you've been, and which one would be the worst place that you've been?
Oh, I've thought about this a lot. There's a lot of factors that go into where I'm at. So it's, my work life and then my life outside of work. I really liked the hospital I was in Jackson, Tennessee, for 3 months. I really liked working there, but I didn't really like the area so much. So that was kind of. But
all in all, that was the one you enjoyed the most?
Overall, probably this one, actually, here in Arizona is probably my favorite.
Other than
overall.
The melting part of it.
Other than melting in the summer, yeah. Yeah. But just generally, my job is pretty great here. The area is pretty great, so.
Right. And so, what about your worst place that you had to? What's your craziest story?
My craziest story. Well, I don't know that I can really tell stories.
Well, as long as there's no names, I would say, as long as names are not mentioned, anything like that.
I think one of the craziest, surprising places I was in Myrtle Beach for 3 months, and I was on a trauma unit there. And so, surprising part number one is I didn't realize Myrtle Beach had a lot of trauma.
So, as far as a trauma nurse, is that for major accidents or
so
different?
You get everything from violent traumas, shootings, stabbings, assaults, to accidental traumas, falls, work accidents, car accidents, motorcycle accidents.
Oh, okay.
So, a majority of it is accidents of some sort, and, in Myrtle Beach it was a lot of motorcycle accidents, but there was still a lot of gunshots and stabbings and that kind of thing. So there was one kind of couple day stretch at the hospital where we had a patient who was shot, and they were concerned that the person who shot him was going to come back to try and kill
finish
them.
Him.
Yeah.
Finish him off.
So my unit was on lockdown, and there were cops kind of posted at the entrances, and they were taking IDs for everybody. So that was a little.
Yeah. What about as far as, is that the craziest being in lockdown, or? I remember you had mentioned something about somebody chasing you with a knife or something.
There was a patient that had a knife that they were a little confused, so I can't blame them completely. But there's patients who get out of bed who are slightly on the confused side. You can put them in a chair with a seatbelt so they don't keep getting up and trying to fall. Mm-hmm. And they must have smuggled in a pocket knife, so they kind of cut themselves out of the chair, and before you knew it, they were out in the middle of the hallway. Their IVs were out, so they were kind of bleeding everywhere, and they were swinging this knife around, walking around the unit. So that was a little.
But it didn't deter you from wanting to continue to be a travel nurse, even if it's trauma?
It may have deterred me from going into inner cities, inner cities of places, but it's still a really good experience. And
well, I can definitely understand the confusion when they gave me that. What was it? What did they give me? The Ativan? And they had come in to check me at 2 o'clock, and I was kind of out of it. And I woke up, and I was like, the squirrels in the tree flying around. I said something like that, and then they were looking at me. I was like, did I just say something that totally made no sense? And they're like, yes. I was like, okay, give me a second.
Well, we don't make it easy on people. We give them meds and then wake them up at all hours of the day. And...
Yeah. Well, the first time they did it was downstairs, and I was totally delusional, seeing things. I was like, I'm not taking that anymore.
Yeah.
But then when we got up here, and I had another little panic attack. I was like, I need something to help with that. And they said, well, we'll give you this. And Amanda was like, are you sure? I was like, well, yeah, why not? And then she made me, after she left, she's like, do you realize that it was what? I was like, oh, man. And so, but luckily, she said, I started to get a little loopy, but I fell asleep finally. And that's when they woke me up a little later.
Well, it's so hard because, I mean, everyone reacts differently. So sometimes one medication is, works like a charm for one person. And then for you, it, makes you a little...
Right. And I told him, I said, just give me some good old Valium.
Yeah.
I said, that'll be fine. I'll be fine with that. And then that has helped a lot, too. Mm-hmm. So have you ever thought about becoming maybe an oncology nurse or anything like that? Or is it more of a... You have to go back to school for even longer time.
You don't have to go back to school. In order to be able to give chemo, you do have to have a certification. So that's like a class, and you have to study for a test and take the test to get your certification, and then you have to hang it with the certified nurse so many times before you can be on your own. Right. But that's kind of one of the perks about traveling is I've gotten to do a lot of different types of nursing. I don't really know exactly what I want to do. For the rest of my life, so I mean,
you're still very young.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
I'm in no rush, but I've been able to try. I've been a cardiac nurse. I've been a pulmonary nurse. Now this is an oncology floor. I've been on trauma. I've worked on surgical units. All over the country. So I've been able to kind of get a little taste of
a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
To kind of maybe decide later down the road what you really want to.
Yeah, I still want to travel for a little while.
Well, of course. Like I said, you're young. Why wouldn't you take the advantage of traveling to different places? Mm-hmm. Like I said, one of our roommates was a traveling nurse, and she was from, I think her last place was San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And she was first time in Arizona, and she was like, oh my God, it's 97. It's so hot. I'm like, that's nothing. Wait till you get to 121. And she's like, what? Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, she ended up. She's already moved on. Yeah. So she didn't get a chance to really experience that hot, melting heat.
I mean, I survived the summer, so... Yeah. Maybe I'll wind up back here someday.
That's awesome.
We'll see.
That's awesome. But you do like traveling and do like doing different things and stuff like that.
I do.
Trauma would be... it's just too much to see what people can do to other people. Mm-hmm. And then you get, especially kids that come in that are really messed up with an accident or something like that. I have a friend she's been a mortician for like 24 years now, and I'm always like, how do you do it? And she's like, after a while, it's like kind of like Taco Bell. It's just the next one, the next one. She goes, but it is hard when you do get a child to come in and you have to do what you have to do for that.
Yeah. So. I think it's hard when I get someone that like reminds me of myself. That's like one of the things about trauma is, most people in the hospital are older, or you imagine them to be older, but with trauma, it's the young people, the people in their 20s and 30s. And,
right.
So on one hand, I mean, it is a little depressing at times to see, people are going about their daily lives and all of a sudden they are in a car accident or a life-changing encounter with someone.
Right.
But then on the other hand, it makes me a little more grateful for,
Have you had experiences at other hospitals and stuff where, as far as some of the doctors or even some of the nurses, you kind of like, really? Do you not, maybe they've been there too long and they're like, it's like in one, next one, in one, next one. And you're kind of like, how can you do that? I mean,
I've definitely run across my fair share of really awesome coworkers and then not so great coworkers. I do think there is maybe a time period where you have to look and say, I might have been, I might be in this too long. I should maybe switch it up and do something else, which is another great thing about traveling is I don't really get kind of burnt out or tired of one type of nursing or one place.
Or maybe they should have like every year or maybe every couple of years have a little course for the doctors that have to mandatory take a bedside manner kind of thing.
I wouldn't be against it.
Right. I'm like, because sometimes you get some of the doctors like, this is how it is. This is how it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Like, but listen to me when I'm telling you one more time. This is how it is. This is how it's going to be. It's like, okay, I will talk to you later.
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, I'm still confused. But you kind of made me not want to ask any more questions.
And that's not a great thing for a patient.
Right. So.
But you definitely notice, especially like, I've noticed medicine is different in different parts of the country. And then depending on how old the doctor is, so they kind of, they teach you differently in medical school 30 years ago compared to today.
Right.
So, the doctors that are just coming out of medical school kind of have been, the bedside manner part has been pushed on them a lot more than, I guess, in the past. So hopefully that means it's getting a little better.
But I do notice the difference from downstairs to when you come up, to, especially to oncology and stuff. Not saying that they're terrible downstairs. It's just they seem up here, they're more attentive to the patients and more, what do you need? What can we do for you? Are you okay? I think it was one of the other nurses knew that I was having panic attacks and kind of sat down with me and was like rubbing my back and going, it's going to be okay. Let me kind of talk to you about this is what we're doing and, why you're here.
Yeah.
There's no point in worrying anymore about what's going on. Just kind of accept that you're here right now and just kind of let it go at that.
Yeah.
So she kind of helped bring that anxiety down a little bit.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the Valium and stuff.
It helps. I mean, I think I wonder if the nurses that are on this floor that kind of deal with the oncology aspect more frequently, again, they've found out what kind of works for patients, that ways to calm them down, things to tell them, things to help them with. They're used to taking care of these patients that are, a little bit maybe more of an emotional side than just the physical diagnosis. So it's kind of more in their wheelhouse of. And some nurses just, they haven't experienced that, so they don't know yet.
Right.
What to do or how to act or what to say or.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
But I'm glad that, not to say once again, you regular nurses. I hate to say that, because you're not regular nurses. You guys are awesome, and you guys have been taking so good care of me up here, and it's been. Hopefully I can leave tomorrow. I want to get out of here.
Yeah. I don't think there's any hold-ups. I think you'll be good to go in the morning.
So, in the morning, then, we'll find out from there what more kind of chemos I'm going to have to do. But I want to thank you, Miss Betty Boop, for talking to us for a little bit.
No problem.
And
I'm going to keep heading on with my shift.
And hopefully we're going to turn her on to my friends up in New York, Keith and Chemda, with Keith and the Girl podcast, the comedy podcast. They do their podcast basically 5 days a week.
Oh, that's
so they got like over 3,000 episodes and they've been doing it since 2005.
Well, then I don't know if I can start at the beginning.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were saying that earlier.
I might have to just pick a middle episode and
some
go from there.
Some of them they do, and like I said, I've been on the show too, and so I think one of them is, I think it's called Elvis has left the building, or just Elvis lives, or something like that. So I was up there talking about.
Well, maybe I'll start
like
with that one.
Yeah, you can do, and check it out. They're like I said, they're definitely when I came across them, I was in a bad spot, and I was going through my divorce and different stuff like that, and so I was getting really depressed and kind of suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. And I found these guys, and they really started me laughing again. And so I basically tell them they have saved my life, which they really did.
That's awesome.
And so we become friends, and they've been texting me and asking me what's going on and how are you doing and what can we do for you and how can we help and all that kind of stuff. So they're totally awesome people.
Well, I'm always ready for a good laugh. So.
There you go. But their sense of humor is a little different too. You got to understand they deal with all kinds of different comedians, and comedians are comedians. So it's at times it's not one you want to, if you have little ones, of course, which I'm sure you don't because you're a traveling nurse, but it's one you don't want to have the little ones around. So
good disclaimer.
Right.
I won't listen to it on high,
there you go.
extra loud in my car. Or anything,
yeah, well, they're talking about certain things. You're like, oh shoot, turn that down. But they are awesome. And when I went there, I was like, I'm at the mothership kind of thing. So it was great. So yes, hopefully we'll get Miss Betty Boop to start listening to Keith and the Girl. And thank you again.
Hey, no problem.
And I hope I don't have to see you again. But then again, I hope I do see you again. Yeah. So it's there. Hopefully, who knows? It's been up and
You
down.
gotta come
It's
back
been
in
crazy.
that Elvis
Yeah, my
back
my
up to the
glasses and my
nurse's
suit and
station.
everything,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
Give a little
expecting
surprise. All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
I'll see ya.
All right, guys, I'm gonna continue on with my chemo and probably check back in with you in a little bit. All right, we'll talk to you in a bit. Okay, my friends, another little break here. I want to remind everybody once again that it is Leukemia Awareness Month this month, and I am aware that I have leukemia. But we are still going to be doing my Light the Night walk that I do every year for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And under review, Sports Bar and Grill, my cousin's new bar, is definitely going to be helping. They're raffling off stuff and getting donations and different things. So if you have any questions or would like to help out with donations and stuff, definitely hit me up at laughingwithcancer@gmail.com or Facebook, Laughing with Cancer. So, yeah, let's continue on with this chemo cocktail we got going on. You know what I mean? I think we do. So, let's continue with treatment in 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Well, I finished the chemo. This first round of chemo, of course, is the Rituxan. And then, like I said before, Tuesday, we'll be going to the oncologist to find out the final freaking results and see what other chemo we're going to have to do. So I'm definitely going to have to be doing some more chemo, but this is I guess it's a lighter type of chemo. So, yeah, and all in all, today I felt pretty good out of the whole time I've been here. And the nurses are awesome. And I was hoping, as we closed up this part of the first part, that the nurse here that's on I guess the managing nurse or whatever, I'll go ahead and give her a nickname as Nurse Cratchit. I kind of had a vibe from her from the beginning, from the first day I seen her. So I came in here and kind of told her, you know, I'd like to go ahead and close out and maybe talk about, you know, going home and side effects and different things. And she was like, oh, no, I don't feel comfortable on a podcast. I said, well, it's not a video, it's an audio. She's like, oh, no. And I don't think the hospital would approve that. I was like, I've kind of mentioned that I'm not going to be, as for legality reasons, I won't be mentioning the hospital or the doctors, and all the nurses will have, you know, aliases. It's like, oh no. I was like, okay, that's fine. So the other nurses came and said, well, that kind of sucks because she knows a lot. She's very informational. I was like, that's all right. But all the other nurses were way cool and like on board to talk and stuff like that. And of course, like earlier, Nurse Betty Boop, she just loves podcasts, so she was excited to be able to talk on this and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll be able to go home tomorrow and like I said, then go see the other oncologist on Tuesday to find out, in his words, if it's going to be aggressive chemo or not so aggressive chemo. And I was like, or maybe not chemo at all. He's like, oh, no. You're doing chemo. I was like, yeah, geez. And so they started on me today. So this is what I'm thinking, that because I don't know if I mentioned earlier about the port that they put in. And she told me when I came back up here, she said, they said you didn't fall asleep at all. And they pumped you up with a lot of drugs, and you were still Mr. Chatterbox and everything while we were down there. I was like, yeah. I mean, I felt okay. She asked me once if I was feeling drowsy. I was like, no. Kept on with my stories, and so she gave me some more medication. And so when I came up here before I started the chemo, she gave me a couple of drugs and a high dose of the Benadryl, and was asking me, are you feeling tired? Are you ready to lay down? I was like, no, am I supposed to? She's like, yeah, normal people would be seeing different things and colored skies and all. I was like, no, I feel fine. I feel okay. She's like, you just have a big tolerance for drugs. So I'm figuring maybe since I have a big tolerance for drugs, I'm going to be able to slide through this whole chemo bullshit. You know, my body's going to be like, you know what, chemo? You ain't got shit. Bring it on, brother. We're going to roll right through you. At least that's what I want to think. But everybody's different, you know. So just because I don't have certain symptoms doesn't mean other people won't have certain symptoms. You know, everybody's different. You know, so they also talk about doing chemo along with stem cell. That's one of the newer things. And but they also say in order to do stem cell, you have to be healthy and in shape. And I'm thinking, how healthy and in shape do you have to be when you're already having to do chemo and stuff? So I'm thinking maybe if you were already a freaking marathon runner and all that kind of stuff and already in excellent health, and then you come down with this, you'd be able to get through it a little better. Because I've read about a lady whose sister had this type of cancer, the type of cancer I've been talking about, the large B-cell lymphoma or the Richter syndrome. Went through the whole chemo, hardly any side effects, and did the stem cell. 4 weeks later, she ran a marathon. So you never know, because there was another friend of hers that was the same way, did the same thing, outcome not that good. So you never know. So I'm thinking hopefully my body can tolerate lots of chemicals as far as different medications and stuff. So there's a silver lining. Another glass is half full. You know what I mean, my friends? So I'm going to close this first round out, get it out to you guys. And once again, like I said, if you have any questions or would like to know anything that I could possibly ask the nurses and stuff, feel free to hit me up at my Gmail, laughingwithcancer, laughingwithcancer@gmail.com, or of course my website, laughingwithcancerpodcast.com, or Facebook, Laughing with Cancer. Just look me up. So I think we'll get this out here in the next couple days so we can keep on track, and I can start over again on Tuesday and see what they say and see where we go from there. All right, my friends. So let's all try to stay positive. All right. I want to thank once again my bros that have been calling me every day, chatting with me. Brian Hogan, you're one of them. You know it. This cat can talk. I mean, for a long time, which is great. You know what? I haven't been able to talk to him in a long time, and it feels good to be able to talk to my friends. And they've all been calling me, texting me, wanting to know when they can see me, wanting to know when they can fly up to see me. And, you know, I, of course, have my family here, some of my family here, my cousin and stuff like that, and my mom and dad and everybody. So I want to thank you all. And, of course, especially Keith and Chemda with Keith and the Girl. You guys are always on my mind and my lifesavers, as I've always said. So with that said, I want to thank you guys, and we'll get this out and start the healing. You know what I mean? All thank you do. Well, thank you very much. You guys take it easy. We'll talk to you here again soon. Peace, love, and stay laughing.
Laughing with Cancer Podcast.com